Hi, Mark Casson here. Just here to talk to you a little bit today about the point-based magic system in the World of Aetaltis rule set. This is something that's come up a lot. A number of people have asked for more information about it, so I thought I'd take a minute to tell you about it. So, things I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of minutes is why we did this, a rough idea of how it works, and then of course, my favorite part, the cool stuff this lets us do when we utilize this system. So why did we do it? First off, I wanted a way to differentiate divine magic from arcane magic. I think it's very cool to have those as separate things. Even if the source of the power is the same, the way you access it is very different from one side to the other. Where divine magic is all about faith and belief and what the gods will give you, arcane magic is more about what you can take and the skills that you use to do it. So it creates this sort of tension between the two types of magic that I think is very cool to have, and by using different systems for them, it makes it a little bit easier to represent that. Now, why we did it, obviously that's one of the reasons, but the other thing that's really important to us is that I wanted to be able to capture a lot of the cool things we see in movies and books and television shows. And the existing magic system in 5e is cool, but it doesn't really let us do that. I wanted things like ley lines and essence wells. I wanted people to be able to pull that dusty tome off the shelf that they find in the ancient Deepland library and open it up to a spell that is way outside of their ability to cast, but things are so dire that they have to at least give it a try, and I want them to have the ability to do that. And so we needed a rule set that could support that. So let's talk a little bit about how the system works. At its basic level, everyone has essence points. Spells cost a certain amount of essence points. The more powerful the spell, the more points it costs. In order to cast a spell, the spellcaster must make a spellcasting roll. That check will determine whether or not the spell goes off. It's more difficult for spells that are higher level and more powerful. And then finally, over time, the essence points will recharge, and they'll be able to cast more spells. So at the most basic level, that's how it works. Now, one thing that's really cool about this is once you put these sorts of things in place, you create a whole bunch of other possibilities. Things like essence stones that hold extra magic. Things like being able to draw essence from other sources. So let's say you run out of essence points. What do? Well, there are a variety of options available to you, some darker than others. For example, you could actually burn your own hit points as essence points in order to cast a spell that maybe you don't have enough points for. If you are more evil, you might actually draw the essence out of someone else. That's why everyone has essence points. So there are lots of different things that this opens up. In addition, as you start looking at things like how do you restore essence points and how do you get your magic back, that's where you can start bringing in things like essence wells, where the essence is so rich that your essence points come back much faster than they do under normal circumstances. Another example are ley lines. Again, a very rich source of essence, and where those ley lines cross become vital points in the story for people who want to control them, whether it's a dragon who chooses to lair where the ley lines cross or where an essence well is, or a castle that's built there and then taps that power to handle all sorts of spells that are cast into the walls of the castle. I mean, lots of very cool things become possible. The other thing that happens is once you put this whole skill-based check around it, the whole idea of not being able to cast certain level spells becomes less important. You can try to cast spells that are much higher than your current skill level. The problem is, it's just not safe. And due to the nature of magic in Aetaltis, where it's believed that the first arcane magic came from Androran, the Lord of Darkness, back before he had fallen, and he was still the god of magic. And so there's a sense of danger about the magic, and this comes out in the fact that if you critically fail, very, very bad things can happen. And this is very cool when you're trying to cast a higher level spell because that critical failure window gets wider and the difficulty of the spell goes up. And so it creates this scenario where you can certainly try to do something that's outside the realm of what is safe. But again, you're taking the risk, you're choosing it. I've seen on more than one occasion when we were playtesting, very cool scenes where the party is up against the wall, they have no way to get out, and if it's not for the fact that some spellcaster took a tremendous risk in order to save them all, to cast some spell that was well outside of what they either had the points for or the skill for, it creates these wonderful dramatic moments. And so that's a big part of why we have the system that we have. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks for listening. We have a few more days left in the Kickstarter. Things are going great. We're unlocking stretch goals all over the place. We really appreciate you being part of this. Tomorrow I'm going to post another video where I talk a little bit about classes, about the new classes in Aetaltis, how they work, why we chose those over archetypes, and a little more information like that. Plus we have more art reveals coming up and a bunch of other very cool stuff. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you later.